Everyone loves someone who's had a period, and everyone who's had a period has been surprised at least once in their life by the arrival of that period in a public place. You sit in that public restroom and you go through your options. Do I have something in my purse? Is there something in my car? Is there someone in the room that I could go, "Psst, hey, can I get a tampon? Is there a machine in here? Does it work? Do I have change?" Barring any of those, we can figure out a way to get home to our clean bathrooms, our warm showers, and our stack of supplies under the sink. For most of us, this is a temporary inconvenience. But for the 11.6 million menstruators who live under the federal poverty line, this is not a temporary inconvenience. This is a recurring drain on their resources, their energy, and their dignity. When people don't have the products they need to manage their menstruation, they turn to other things that they might have that aren't medically suggested. They use t-shirts, socks, paper towels, toilet paper, or they use the products that they do have for longer than medically required. This can lead to infection and illness. If they don't have the products that they need, they won't go to school, they won't go to work, and so then it becomes a drain on our entire community as a whole. Good evening. My name is Lysne Tait, and I am the Executive Director and co-founder of Helping Women Period, a nonprofit that provides free menstrual products to those experiencing homelessness and low-income disparity. We started Helping Women Period in 2015 when we read an article about the lack of product for homeless women, and we were shocked. We had never expected that these people would go without. We had always assumed that it was some kind of federal program, SNAP or WIC, that would provide these products for these women, and we thought we needed to do something. We decided to have a breakfast and invite 30 of our closest friends. We'd ask them for donations, we'd buy some products online, and then we'd give it to the local shelter. Well, we put it on Facebook on a Sunday. On Tuesday of that week, we had to change the venue because we had 100 people coming, not 30. And on Thursday of that week, we filed nonprofit paperwork because we had people from all over the world who wanted to send us money, and we wanted to be as transparent as possible. So we had our breakfast, we raised $4,000 and decided we didn't want all of that to go outside of our community. So we found a local janitorial supply company, and he had a daughter and couldn't imagine her doing without. So he said, "I will do whatever I can. Let's buy 100 cases at a time, and I will give it to you at cost." So we did. We bought 100 cases. We put them in our cars, in our living rooms, and we started to look for places we could distribute these products. We decided we would work with local charities that already had a relationship with our target audience. We could imagine that being somebody who was down on their luck, needed some support, having so many hands reaching out saying, "Can I help you?" would be overwhelming. So if we already took advantage of those relationships that were created, would be less stress on the end user. It's been 7 years since we started. We've distributed 3 million products, and that's all well and good. It sounds really amazing, but that's just treating the symptom. It's not treating the actual cause. So what is the root underlying cause? Period poverty. People who are experiencing period poverty have two kinds of stigmas attached to them. They have the stigma of periods, and they have the stigma of poverty. Let's look at the period. Our forefathers, our Puritan forefathers, have instilled in our society a dislike of talking about messy things. They don't want to talk about women's bodies. Those kinds of things you talk about in the kitchen or you talk behind your hand. It's not something you bring up in polite society. In the US, 1 in 4 girls reports being bullied about her period in school. And I think part of this is because in our education system, we don't talk about periods very often. There's a 5th grade class and you get split into girls going one side and boys going the other, and they go through menstruation and puberty, and it's one day and that's it. But I think that's part of the problem. We don't have any education that is inclusive and supportive and medically accurate about menstruation in the public schools. We need to start education about menstruation earlier, and we need to make it not secretive. If we keep it public and in the conversation, it's going to be nothing. It's not going to be an issue, and we can get rid of that stigma. The other stigma that people who deal with period poverty deal with is poverty stigma. Our society does not like dirty people. We look at the guy in the corner and we say, "Go get a job," but we don't give him any opportunity to clean himself up. All those federal programs, SNAP and WIC, they don't provide cleaning supplies. They don't provide shampoo, and they don't have a place to take a shower. They don't provide pads and tampons or diapers. You'd think that WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, would supply things like diapers and pads and tampons and formula. They get the formula, but that's it. Those programs were started in the 70s and in the 30s when there were no women in the legislature. There were only men. And it was a time when you didn't talk about pads or tampons or diapers or messy things. And so how can we expect these people to lift themselves up if we don't give them any chance to become clean and to take care of themselves? Like I said before, women or menstruators who don't have the products they need, they will use other things. T-shirts and socks, and that's not medically safe for them to do that. They have a right, no matter what their circumstance is, to have products that are clean and healthy. And that's part of the reason like Scotland and New Zealand have provided free products in their countries, is because they were tired of medical issues putting a drain on the whole society. So what do I do next? We need to have medically accurate, inclusive menstrual and reproductive health classes, curriculums in the schools. We need to talk to people and let them know that this is a problem. Many people, I'm sure, are like my co-founder and I, that we didn't know that this was an issue. We always assumed that somebody else was taking care of it. We often hear about developing countries and girls not going to school because they don't have menstrual products. But it's happening right here, and it's happening in your backyard. So what do we do next? We need to end the mysteriousness and the secrecy about menstruation. We need to talk to non-menstruators and include them in the conversation. I was teaching a class, and I had a student say to me, well, what do I need to know this for? And another boy stood up and said, hey, if you ever have a girlfriend or a sister or an aunt or a wife, you're going to need to know this stuff, because knowing what's going on with them is only going to make you a better person. The more we talk about poverty, the less we'll have to talk about period poverty. My daughter was in a production of Beauty and the Beast, and in one of the songs they said, we don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us. Well, I think this is true about a lot of things that are going on in the world right now. It's definitely true about period poverty. Education is the key to understanding, and it's an antidote to fear. When we talk about menstrual equity, we're talking about not only providing people with the product that they need, but to give them information, support, and choice to manage their menstruation in a way that's best for them and their body. All menstruators, no matter what their situation, deserve to have access to safe, healthy, and clean products.